Good morning. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. I'm Karen Goldner, a member of the church's Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are she, hers. In response to COVID-19, we at 2U are doing our part in slowing the spread of coronavirus. We are continuing to meet virtually via Zoom. Some of us will even figure out eventually how to unmute. We're having some bumps along the way, thanks to me, but appreciate everybody's grace that you extend during this time. Special thanks to our amazing team taking care of all the technology. You'll notice that there's a chat feed available for you to interact with, and you're welcome to use this to say hello to one another and to share your joys and concerns when we reach that time in the service. When we would traditionally sing together and read things in unison, you're encouraged to do so as well, even though you're on mute. Our voices echo through the world, so we might just hear one another if we listen closely and sing with our full spirit. As things continue to change, we'll be continuing to pay close attention to the recommendations of public health officials and respond as quickly as possible. At this time, we recognize physical distancing as an act of love and protection. We especially welcome newcomers this morning. During this time of pandemic, finding a new community and making new connections can be especially challenging. Please know that we are excited to have you and look forward to getting to know you. If you're new to us today, you're welcome to note that in the chat. Our worship today is led by Reverend Jason Leiden, along with Worship Associate Sue Burke and Chalice Lighter Jobson Hudson. Our music is provided by Carl Kennedy, Amanda Thomas, Rosalind Hurwitz, and Kristen Beasley. Our tech team are Epiphany Paris, Eric Schwitzler, Harris McKee, Dan Ashley, John Hauk, and David Martin. I have a couple of quick announcements for you this morning. Next Sunday, we will have our training for small group facilitators after the service. If you're interested in being a small group facilitator this year, please contact Claire Gravassi or Reverend Jason. We are especially welcome to those who have not facilitated a small group in the past. This evening at 7 p.m., the Covenant and Earth and Sky, or CODES, will be leading a ritual over Zoom in celebration of Mavon. All are welcome to join in this festival of balance during the time of autumn equinox. The Anvil this week, our church newsletter, contained a wealth of information about adult religious education classes that will be offered this fall. Please be sure to check them out. You can learn more about nuclear technology, discuss theology, join a book group about dynamic worship, and more. You can find more information and additional announcements in your order of service. And I now welcome Sue Burke to lead our call to worship.
We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults, a people with many beliefs and traditions bound not by the specific things, a list of things we believe, but by the values we share. Whether you are joining us for the first time or for the 1000th time, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. Whatever your race, whomever you love, whichever way you move in the world, however much money is in your pocket, whatever is in your Zoom background, you are welcome here. I invite you now to take a breath in and out. As the music begins, let us enter into our worship service together.
Good morning to you. George Cedarquist here with Julia and Benjamin. This is a shofar. A shofar is an ancient musical instrument typically made out of a ram's horn, and it's used for Jewish religious purposes. The shofar is blown on Rosh Hashanah and at the very end of Yom Kippur. It's customary to blow the shofar 100 or 101 times each day of Rosh Hashanah. Really only 30 blasts are technically required, and there's an even shorter version which we're going to do with you now.
Tekiah! Tekiah! Teruah! Teruah! Shavarim! Shavarim! Tekiah Gedolah! Tekiah Tegola.
Shana Tova!
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you so much for that. And we light our chalice this morning with these words from Rabbi Isaiah Horowitz. There are things that are important for us, so we speak about them. There are things very important to us, and so words flow out from us, bursting with emotion, meaning, and depth. And then there are things that shake us to our core. The core of our being does not wait for the mind's permission to find the right words. There are no words that can contain it. It breaks out in a cry, in a scream, and in silence. This is the sound of the shofar. A crying voice, not even of a human being, but of an animal's horn. We need the animal, not for its coarseness, but on the contrary, because we need to express something so sublime, it cannot find the words. So essential and unbounded, the mind can neither fathom it nor hold it back. This is the message of Rosh Hashanah. I started off whole, I became broken, even splintered into fragments, but I shall become whole again. I shall become whole again.
But must source of peace, lead us to Him. O source of peace, lead us from strife.
Please join me in reciting our covenant. The words are on your screen. We covenant to build a community that challenges us to grow and empowers us to honor the truth within ourselves. We will be generous with our gifts and honest in our communication, holding faithful to a love that embraces both diversity and conflict. Called by our living tradition, we will nurture spirituality within a vision of the eternal, living out our inner convictions through struggles for justice and acts of compassion.
Please join me in singing our congregational hymn, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stories of compassion. Blow in the wind. Sorry. Oops. My bad. We're gonna do it without the music. Rise in the sea, moving the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning, everyone. It is now time for the story for all ages. So if your kids are not in the room with you yet, it's a good time to ask them to join you. And today we have a special guest reading our story, Ben Cedarquist.
Rosh Hashanah is coming by Tracy Newman, illustrated by Viviana Garofoli. Golden leaves fall, hear the geese call, Rosh Hashanah is coming. Crack the eggs, hear that sound? Make this braided hollow round, Rosh Hashanah is coming. Blow out, not too fast, tekiah will blast, Rosh Hashanah is coming. Crisp apples, so sweet, dip in honey and eat. Rosh Hashanah is coming. Scoop the seeds from the skin, juice drips down my chin. Rosh Hashanah is coming. Put on our new clothes, striped tie, dress with bows. Rosh Hashanah is coming. The candles burn bright as this day turns to night. Rosh Hashanah is coming. Down goes the sun. Join hands, everyone. Rosh Hashanah is coming. Together we cheer Shana Tova. Happy New Year! Hooray! Rosh Hashanah is here!
Perfect reading, Ben. Thank you so very much. Each year, we all make a commitment, a pledge to support the ministry of our church. In addition to this contribution, each Sunday we take a collection so that we can share with those doing justice beyond our church walls. While we are unable to come together in person, you can still share your abundant resources. To make your contribution, you can send a text and follow prompts. We will have a number for you on your screen as the music plays during the offertory. For the month of September, we are sharing our plate with One North Side. This morning, we'll hear some words from Karen Goldner.
Good morning again. One North Side is a mixed income, multi-ethnic, intergenerational organization that unites our diverse communities. We build collective power to eliminate injustice through bold and innovative community organizing. We accomplish this through developing grassroots leaders and acting together to effect change. We envision a diverse, united North Side of Chicago acting powerfully for our shared values of racial, social, and economic justice in communities where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. 2U has long been a partner of One North Side, and a number of our congregation's members are leaders in our organization. We currently have campaigns in police accountability, affordable housing, mental health justice, and economic justice, which build on previous successful campaigns to protect affordable housing in Uptown and Chicago overall, raise the minimum wage, provide increased spending money for Medicaid recipients in nursing homes, and reduce job discrimination against returning citizens. We are especially focused on passing the fair tax, which is on the ballot in November. If you are feeling overwhelmed and stressed by the state of our community and nation, and all that means is that you're paying attention, please join us in taking action. Despair is a tool of oppression. Working with others to make positive change in our city, state, and country will make you feel better. I promise. Thank you for your generous gift to support One North Side's work. If you want to become involved with the organization as a volunteer, please let me know in the chat, or you can drop me an email. Thank you.
Now I invite you all to join me in reading our offertory words. The words are printed in your order of service and are visible for you on the screen. This church is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm it and enable its participation in the larger world around us. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. I now invite you, wherever it is that you are, to join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let us begin by breathing together. Try to relax the muscles in your neck. Relax the muscles in your shoulders. Feel yourself connected to the earth. We begin in thanks, thankful for the breath in our lungs, the beauty of our earth, and the strength of this community. We hold in our hearts those who care for family in ill health, those who live with grief or chronic pain, those struggling with addiction and illness, seen and unseen. We are with you. For parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is the care for children, especially now in such turbulent times, we are with you. We pray for our neighbors in prison who cannot possibly physically distance, for those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty and this current economic downturn. We are with you. We pray for all those living in harm's way. We pray for our planet and commit to work that will lead us away from the harms of climate chaos. We pray that wisdom, compassion, and empathy guide the leaders of our world. May they and we be instruments of a just and lasting peace. Our lives are truly blessed by those who knowingly, with curiosity and courage, face their final days. This morning, many of us have aching hearts after the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a longtime struggler for gender equity. When asked how she wished to be remembered, she said these words: "Just as someone who did whatever she could, with whatever limited talent she had, to move society in the direction I would like it to be for my children and grandchildren." As the Jewish tradition teaches, a person who dies on Rosh Hashanah is a person of righteousness. May her life be for a blessing, and may we have the courage to hold both the beauty and the complexity of her legacy. And may we be fiercely committed in our acts for justice in the days, weeks, and months to come. Into this, our shared silence, I invite you now, wherever it is that you are, to speak the name of anyone you wish to lift up into the loving support of this community. With our deepest compassion, let us hold in our hearts those named and unnamed, those remembered and those forgotten. Let it be so. Amen, and blessed be. At this time, I will light 2 candles, one representing the joys and celebrations that we are experiencing in our lives, and another representing those concerns and sorrows that we hold. Now we will hear music, and as you listen, I invite you to share your joys and concerns in our chat window. We hold all of these joys, celebrations, sorrows, and struggles close to our hearts. Sue Burke, will you now share our first reading?
Tashlik is a Hebrew word that means casting off, and it is a long-standing Jewish practice performed on the afternoon of Rosh Hashanah. The previous year's sins are symbolically cast off by throwing pieces of bread or a similar food item into a large natural body of flowing water, such as a river, lake, sea, or ocean. During this ritual, which became popular in the 13th century, it is customary to read prayers and psalms. This morning, we will reflect on these words from Stephen Levine's Forgiveness Meditation, adapted by the Unitarian Universalist Jewish minister, the Reverend Joanna Lubkin. These words are meant to be read and heard slowly. Bring into your heart the image of someone for whom you feel much resentment. Take a moment to feel that person right there in the center of your chest. Open your heart to the suffering you have endured by their transgressions. And in your heart, bring compassionate understanding to this person. Say to them, "For anything you may have done that caused me pain, anything you did either intentionally or unintentionally, through your thoughts, words, or actions, I forgive you." Slowly allow that person to settle into your heart. No force, just opening to them at your own pace. Say to them, "I forgive you." Gently, gently open to them. If it hurts, let it hurt. Begin to relax the iron grip of your resentment, to let go of that incredible anger. Say to them, "I forgive you," and allow them to be forgiven. Now bring into your heart the image of someone who you wish to ask for forgiveness. Open your heart to a compassionate awareness of the suffering you have caused them, intentionally or unintentionally. Find within yourself the humility and courage to ask their forgiveness. Say to them, "For anything I may have done that caused you pain, my thoughts, my actions, my words, I ask for your forgiveness. For all those words that were said out of forgetfulness, or fear, or confusion, I ask your forgiveness." Don't allow any resentment you may hold for yourself to block your reception of that forgiveness. Let your heart soften to it. Allow yourself to be forgiven. Open to the possibility of forgiveness. Holding them in your heart, say to them, "For whatever I may have done that caused you pain, I ask your forgiveness." Now bring an image of yourself into your heart, floating in the center of your chest. Open your heart to a compassionate awareness of the suffering you have caused to yourself and others in this passing year. Bring your attention to the ways of being you have taken on, consciously or unconsciously, that have caused you to miss the mark in this passing year. Realize how those ways of beings no longer serve you. Bring yourself into your heart, and using your own first name, say to yourself, "For all that you have done in forgetfulness and fear and confusion, for all the words and thoughts and actions that may have caused pain to anyone. I forgive you. Open to the possibility of self-forgiveness. Let go of all the bitterness, the hardness, the judgment of yourself. Make room in your heart for yourself. Say, I forgive you, to you.
Thank you, Sue. Not the easiest practice, any of those pieces. Our second reading this morning is a poem from Marge Piercy entitled Head of the Year. The moon is dark tonight, a new moon for a new year. It is hollow and hungers to be full. It is the black zero of beginning. Now you must void yourself of injuries, insults, incursions. Go with empty hands to those who you have hurt to make amends. It is not too late. It is early and about to grow. Now is the time to do what you know you must and have feared to begin. Your face is dark too, and you turn inward to face yourself, the hidden twin all of you must grow to be. Forgive the dead year. Forgive yourself. What will be wants to push through your fingers. The light you seek hides in your belly. The light you crave longs to stream from your eyes. You are the moon that will wax in the new goodness. Let us hear our anthem.
This setting of Avinu Malkeinu is just highlights of a very long list of things we ask God for in this prayer. We ask Him to hear our voice, to have mercy on us and our children, to remove all disease, war, and famine from us, and remove tyrants and oppression, to write us in the book of life for a good year. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu. V'yamon aleinu k'toveinu. Avinu Malkeinu, ha'ledaber v'cherem v'na'am ve'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kalech v'tzah, masim yaleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotvenu b'sefer chaim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chol Shaneinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadei Shalenu, Shana Tova, Avinu Malkeinu, Shana Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. Your voice is so beautiful. What a gift. Thank you. Shana Tova to all. In the Jewish calendar, we are at the head of the year. Each new year always begins with the high holy days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, a time for deep reflection, a time to truly assess the past year, a time to secure one's name in the book of life. The high holy days are intended to be a time of recommitment to one's faith, to one's values, and to the service of justice and righteousness. It is a time of collective and personal reflection to ensure renewed possibility in the year ahead, a year to be filled with sweetness, connection to others, and a deeper relationship to the divine. I want to begin my reflections this morning with a story about an 18th century Ukrainian rabbi called Zusya. As the story goes, Rabbi Zusya liked to use his Rosh Hashanah message to talk about what might happen when one was face to face with God upon entering the gates of heaven. Rabbi Zusya told his congregation of what he understood would happen upon his own death. He told his congregation, "As I prepared to stand before God, I was scared about what God would ask me." Rabbi Zusya pondered quietly. His congregation was curious to know what was it that God would ask. The good rabbi continued, "As I stood before God, God did not ask me, 'Rabbi Zusya, why were you not like Moses during your life?' God also did not ask, 'Rabbi Zusya, why were you not like King David or the prophet Jeremiah?' These were the questions I was prepared for," Rabbi Zusya told his congregation. Instead, the rabbi said, God turned to me and asked, "Beloved Rabbi Zusya, why, during this moment in your life here, and this other moment in your life here, why were you not Zusya?" To which I had to pause, for I had no answer. This, Rabbi Zusya told his congregation, this is the question I need to find the answer to. This is the question each of us must answer. So what would your answer be? When you take a look at this last year and you consider all that we have gone through together as a people and all you have had to do on your own, when were you not living into all that you were meant to be? During these Jewish holy days, the invitation is to look at the moments and times when you've missed the mark. The Hebrew word shet While translated into English as the word sin, in truth, it is most similar to that moment when an archer shoots an arrow from their bow, and although the arrow may fly with good intention, it still misses the intended mark. Over the last year, when has that been true for you? What are the moments when you had the best of intentions? You positioned yourself just right. You remembered to breathe. You put your arrow where you thought it should be, but then things still just did not go right. Or maybe it's easier to remember those times when you thought you would have taken an arrow from your quiver, but instead the arrow remained there and no shot was ever taken. I ask you to consider these moments not for the purpose of feeling shame, but for remembering that each and every one of us fails to live up to our own vision of ourselves. And we do so time and time again. We do so because we're human. We do so because we have been shaped by the world that we live in. We do so because of our own trauma, because of our insecurity, because of internalized and systemic oppression. We do so because of our ignorance. And why else? When you take your own assessment of yourself, what keeps you from living fully as you? What inhibits your beauty and purpose from being fully realized? These holy days are not only a time to look at our individual actions, it is also a time to look at our larger communities that we are connected to. The ancient Israelites did not have just an individual relationship with God. The covenant between Yahweh and the Israelites was a collective agreement. So we must also ponder together over this last year, when has our church missed the mark? When have we failed to notch our arrow and let it fly? What about our city? This country that we live in, our world. If I'm being honest, it feels like there must be an especially long list this year. And if you were writing it, what would be on it? There is a teaching by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in which he tells the story of a group of people in a boat. As the Midrash goes, a group of people were traveling in a boat. One of them took a drill and began to drill a hole beneath himself. His companion said to him, "Why are you doing this?" Replied the man, What concern is it of yours? Am I not drilling under my own place? Said they to him, But you will flood the boat for us all. During this global pandemic, it's been said time and time again that we are all in the same boat. We can see how that which happened in a market in China can have effects on people all across the world. How that market in China came to be in the first place has both a local story and a connection to our global economy. Our seventh principle reminds us as Unitarian Universalists that we are all deeply connected in this ever-expanding web of life. When we're looking at the times when we miss the mark, or maybe when we're the person drilling a hole in the boat, we are responsible to consider not only the effects our actions have on our own individual life, but also on the lives of those around us. During some of my time away this summer, I ended up camping on a mountain in a remote part of Wyoming. Though if I consider it, it seems like most of Wyoming is remote. But when my dear friend Megan and I first arrived at our campsite, there was a storm right above us. The clouds went from a light gray to a much darker, ominous storm cloud. We prepared for the rain to start falling, but before we knew it, tiny, smooth chunks of ice started to fall from the sky. We stayed safely in the car, waiting for the storm to pass, pausing, breathing, and preparing because there was nothing else to do but wait. The storm did pass us by, and we got to setting up our tent. We followed that with a short hike, a tasty dinner, and relaxing moments by the river. That night, the clouds cleared away and the bright, beautiful moon rose above us. The moon was nearly full, so it was difficult to see as many stars as I had imagined we would see by being free from the city lights of Chicago. Though when I took out the binoculars we brought with us and pointed them up towards the sky, the stars became clear, their brightness shimmering before me, and I felt so small. I began to feel a bit overwhelmed. I turned the binoculars towards the moon. I've never seen the moon through a telescope, but looking at the moon, even through binoculars, I could see details I have never seen before. This massive rock in the sky transformed from the bright circle I was familiar with to a detailed satellite covered with shapes and shadows I've only seen in pictures. My smallness was also becoming clearer. With so much going on in our world, so much broken, so much heartache, how could I, my small self, really do anything? Could my actions really matter? As I reflected on my smallness, my inability to affect the world around me, given that I was camping, I quite quickly remembered the lesson often attributed to the Dalai Lama. He writes, "If you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito." Fortunately, Megan is the master of good netting and mosquito bite prevention, so I did not have to literally experience the mosquito bites to remember that lesson. Even without the itching, I reflected. The universe is greater than I could ever comprehend, and yet my life remains sacred. The universe is much larger than any of us, and yet each of our lives are sacred. The universe is the boat we share, and there are times when we drill holes in this boat, and we have got to stop. There are times when others drill holes in our boat, and we have to stop them. It is sacred work. Recommitting to this work is what the Jewish High Holy Days are about. Before our introit this morning, George blew the shofar for us. This horn makes a call to deep inside each of us. Rabbi Rachel Barnett wrote these words about the shofar in Rosh Hashanah. "Pure sound is unique in the way it clings to its origin," she writes. "The sound of the shofar connects us with pre-creation. So Rosh Hashanah, in some deep ways, invites us back in touch with the unimaginable. What existed before existence? What infinite potential can we access in the darkness that subsumes all light? the primeval sound which transcends our binary divisions of sense and meaning. Rosh Hashanah is the only Jewish holy day connected to the new moon as opposed to the full moon. The new year is intended to begin in darkness because it is a time of remembering the creation of the world. It is in the darkness that we can imagine the impossible. It is in the darkness that we feel the possibility of what is germinating. It is in the darkness that it is easiest to take account of our own actions. Maybe you could find yourself laying in your bed, the lights off, your eyes closed, taking account of the previous year. When your lips turn up in smiles, remembering the silliest moments, in the darkness, you will not feel shy or insecure. When tears fall on your cheeks, remembering the hardest moments, in the darkness, you can feel comforted. When you feel hot with embarrassment, remembering the moments you missed the mark or drilled the hole in the boat you shared with others, in the darkness, you can let go of shame and commit to righting relationships that have been hurt or broken. In the darkness, you can laugh, weep, and clench your fists tight. In the darkness, you can breathe and relax your body, remembering that with each rotation of the earth, with each lunation of the moon, you can begin again. And as I start to close, I want to offer you this poem written by Rabbis Rachel Barnett and David Evan. The past year makes way for new. Look back at the roads less traveled. Lean forward into what's yet to be and dedicate yourself to the building. Look back at our roads less traveled, Friday nights in mystical white. Dedicate yourself to building the vibrant future you dream for. Friday night in mystical white, enliven the soul, bring hope to the heart. The vibrant future you dream for, the renewal of tomorrow is in your hands. Enliven the soul, bring hope to the heart. What do you yearn for? The renewal of tomorrow is in your hands. Dare to dream what the future needs. What do you yearn for? Lean forward into what's yet to be. Dare to dream what the future needs as the past year makes way for the new. The days ahead are not easy ones. I know that many of us continue to struggle with fear about the many unknowns. While I cannot promise ease, I can promise that whatever it is, we will encounter it together. I hold on to hope because I believe deeply in the power of people to do incredible good together. I hold on to hope because while the hardship of right now feels so new, feels so different, I also know that those who came before us also faced the impossible. I hold on to hope because the new year greets us with possibility. We must be accountable for our past and be transformed as we go into our future. Shana Tova, beloveds. Let it be so, and amen.
Yes, please join me in singing our closing hymn, number 415, Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Even in the midst of trouble and dark times, we celebrate the new year. So sing with joy with me. We bring you peace. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom Aleichem.
I invite you now to rest your hands across your hearts or take hands with those you are sharing space with. Martin Buber reminds us that humans are a promise-making, promise-keeping, promise-breaking, promise-renewing creature. During these holy days ahead, may we have the strength to renew our promises to ourselves, each other, and this world we are making anew. Go in peace.